Mr. Speaker, I'm informed the report is not ready, so I seek time up to Monday next week.
Monday at 2:30 without fail, Chairperson. Chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Works and Public Works, the report on the financial half-year progress report.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Speaker, the committee was in the process of doing the report, and it sits today at 1 p.m. and we found out that we had some findings and recommendations that needed ironing out. And Mr. Speaker, we have done that, so the report will be ready for tabling tomorrow to 30 p.m. Thank you.
Very well. Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Monday, 18th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. That is the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the financial year 2023-2024 half-year county budget implementation report, the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the exposed on the road of the Makueni County and Conservation and Utilization Authority. I think, Mr. Speaker, that was a typo. We are tabling the financial one. I mean the half-yearly financial. I don't know whether your order paper says we are tabling two papers. Sorry?
The order paper reads that the Committee on Environment and Climate Change half-yearly progress report, implementation report on the Directorate of on Environment and Climate Change. That's what we're expecting.
So there is not, the expose is not there, Mr. Speaker.
What?
Allow me, just want me to consult with the table clerk.
No response, is a half-yearly progress report. Then after that you have a report on the road, the sand conservation and utilization.
Therefore, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I can lay both at the same time.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Monday, 18th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. 1. The report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the financial year 2023-2024 half-yearly county budget implementation report. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the expose on the road of the Makueni County Sand Conservation and Utilization Authority. Mr. Speaker, I lay.
So are you sure we have the report? Proceed and lay the report on the road?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have established that the report on the expose on the road of the Makueni County Sand Conservation and Utilization Authority is not ready. It is being prepared, but of course the committee has done everything else. It's just the report writing and adoption of it. Otherwise, I have laid the half-yearly progress report. Thank you.
Chair, when will you do so? When will you do so? When you provide that report?
Very well, Mr. Speaker, I would wish to beg the House that they allow us, we table it on Wednesday.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on Youth Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We sat down and went through the report. She needed some clarifications, and I request that you give us 7 days to finish, to get it back.
Honorable member, the half-yearly progress reports are falling due. Hey, I do not know how we should be discussing this. And how many are remaining? And then how many are they? 12. So it means these committees have complied. Only health, environment. So they have up to when? They have up to when? They have until. Chairperson, I take note. This is half-yearly,
Implementation.
half-year budget implementation report.
Yes.
Therefore, every committee has up to Wednesday next week.
Next week.
Yes,
Yeah, we can do it on Monday.
please do so.
Thank you.
Monday next week or
Yeah,
Wednesday?
Monday next week.
Okay. Chairperson, Finance and Socioeconomic Planning. On the same?
Mr. Speaker, the committee acknowledges the pending business and which are overdue for tabling in the House as has been scheduled in the order paper today. Mr. Speaker, however, the committee has before it other reports with statutory timelines for considerations such as the debt management paper, fiscal strategy paper, and the supplementary budget estimates, Mr. Speaker. As such, Mr. Speaker, the committee has dedicated its time to this time-bound document so that the House can move on, pending the consideration of the reports already due for tabling. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, the committee requests for consideration of the timelines to the overdue reports to days as shown in the tabulation below. Mr. Speaker, the tabulation that you have with you shows that these reports are due today, and we are requesting them to fall due as per the last column, so that, Mr. Speaker, the statutory documentations can be handled. Thank you.
So, honorable members, some of you are indicating that you file a report with us on Wednesday next week, Tuesday next week. If you consult your calendar, we will adjourn on 21st of this week for a short recess and resume on 8th. We'll break for 2 weeks. 20th. Chairperson, Finance and Socioeconomic. Chairperson, Committee Finance again on Q2 receiver of revenue. You've dispensed. So you not dispensed, it's pending. You have just only that you have put your Your lies in paper. What is that? Okay. So proposed unit is
Because of the recess, there is a recess that is coming, so we are moving some of the reports that are due on subsidiaries. The need to realize they are not as much as important. I don't want to supplementary if it's going to your dates. So go that.
so you have nothing.
Today,
Oh, there's nothing because all this is finance.
I remember the other week, Mr. Speaker,
Do you have anything that is ready?
that we presented last week. You remember?
Anything? The chairperson of Committee on Finance has nothing to table. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Out of 14 reports, there's none. And then you are hiding behind the recess. That you're going to have a working recess. Honestly, if you had known you could not manage to get quorum when you had a reason to be here, what makes you think that you'll get quorum to meet when you are on recess?
Mr. Speaker, much of those reports are halfway. Mr. Speaker, if you remember very well, and as per the track I can show, for the last 2-3 weeks, Mr. Speaker, we've done about 17 reports. And therefore, the ones that are there, that are pending, Mr. Speaker, they are halfway, they are not yet done. And Mr. Speaker, considering we are going on recess on 21st, that is why, Mr. Speaker, we are coming with a new timeline so that the committee can work on the new timelines. And Mr. Speaker, so that we can work on the debt management report, the fiscal strategy paper, and Mr. Speaker, of course, the supplementary that is before the budget committee, kindly, so that we dispense these ones which are time-bound and statutory as per the Finance Management Act.
First, 21st of May. But remember, I told you that doesn't make a lot of sense to consider first quarter and second quarter differently.
We will combine.
That's what I've been advising, and every day you're bringing different reports here, Chairperson. You know, you're making our work very difficult. Because it doesn't make sense for you to give us September quarterly reports for the car loan and mortgage. Then you go sit again after 2 months, you bring us the December, and you're bringing us the December report when we are in May. So both September and December, 2 quarters are late. We are almost in May. So common practice and good practice is that you consider September and December as one paper.
Sure.
Otherwise, by the time we'll be in May, by the time we are in September next year, you'll be reporting May.
Mr. Speaker, we just indicated as they were tabled and fall due, but when we are doing the presentation, Mr. Speaker, we are going to combine the 2 quarters and make a one report.
No, Chair, I will advise that you have to reorganize this paper. I've dismissed it.
Okay.
Well, we'll give you an opportunity, but the work is not as organized because it has a lot of many reports that are repeating themselves. You're reporting a quarter now, after 2 weeks, you want to report another quarter, and both of them are overtaken.
Okay.
So find a way of reorganizing it then so that we can have a practical work plan that may be considered by my office and liaison as we break for the next 2 weeks.
Obliged.
Yes.
Thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on Trade. Budget implementation report, is it ready? Is ready? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today, Monday, 18th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. The report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the Makueni County Fiscal Strategy Paper 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Trade, Intergovernmental Relations Committee. Is it ready?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly today, Monday, 18th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. the report of the Committee on Trade, Marketing, Industry, Culture and Tourism on the financial year 2023 and 2024 half-year count budget implementation report. And number 2, the report of Committee on Trade, Marketing, Industry, Culture and Tourism on the consideration of the report of the Intergovernmental Relationship Technical Committee on the unbundling and transfer of pending devolved function of the trade sector. Thank you.
Chairperson of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The 2 reports are ready. Only awaiting adoption, Mr. Speaker. The committee normally sits on Wednesday in the morning, and we intend to lay the paper on that Wednesday at 14 hours, Mr. Speaker. So we are seeking for more time.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson Committee on Agriculture, on Budget Implementation Report. Are you ready?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today, 18th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. The report on the agriculture, irrigation, livestock, fisheries, and cooperative development on the financial year 23-24 half-year county budget implementation report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson Committee on Water and Sanitation, Budget Implementation Report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the report is not ready by tomorrow in the morning hours. Thank you.
Chairperson Committee on Gender. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I have several reports, Mr. Speaker. I don't know.
Budget Implementation Report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the committee will sit tomorrow at noon to adopt this report. It is not yet adopted. So, Mr. Speaker, I kindly seek for more time.
What about the Macquarie County Empowerment Fund regulations?
Regarding the TEDECA regulations, Mr. Speaker, the committee met with the department to review the regulations, and the department will submit the regulations next week.
What happened to the recommendations of this House on TEDECA?
Mr. Speaker, they will be recaptured in the report which they will bring. We were together with the committee on budget, which gave their and the
No, that is a report on the fund regulations.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there was a report that had a timeline and action point on every recommendation. There were some for 90 days, for 60 days, all that. To what extent has that report been implemented?
Mr. Speaker, I don't recall that one. I don't really recall that one.
Honorable Elizabeth Muli.
Honorable Speaker, I would want to inform my good friend and member, Honorable Kitunga, that she sat in the ad hoc committee that made the same recommendations. So she is privy to the information and the recommendations that the ad hoc committee gave in regard to Tetheka and the action points that were needed and the timelines given. So the Committee on Gender should have acted and followed to know how far this has gone as a committee so that we get an update in this house. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, my colleague, Honorable Elizabeth, for the reminder. Yes, the department is factoring these recommendations in the report which they will resubmit to us over next week.
I hear you, Chairperson. I'm not convinced. What will be submitted next week is Makweni Makweni Empowerment Fund Regulations. Chairperson Adok, the defunct Adok, member from Zakik, you had recommendations, and I remember one was for 30 days, within 60 days, within 20 days, within this one, then an audit, reports to come. It is expected that periodically the committee should furnish the Assembly with status of implementation of the recommendations of the County Assembly. You remember the recommendations in ADOC? Some were 60, others 90, others 120, other next financial year. The regulations themselves, amending regulations was a recommendation on its own. So what we do is that it is if Chairperson, you're not aware, so I will, and you know the committee, for former chair implementation, we are discussing an implementation issue. So we need your attention. They just resume, that's it. I meant that I need your attention. You may be of importance. So please take your seat. Every sectoral committee and any other committee has a responsibility to follow up on the recommendations or the reports that have been approved within 60 days. So it is a common practice, allow me to say it's common sense, that after 60 days, when you have passed a report which has within 60 days this to be done, within 60 days, and you have 5 recommendations, each reading 60 days, 6 days. By the time you are 45th day, you should have written to the executive committee member to demonstrate the extent of implementation of the recommendation before the lapse of 60 days. And without cause or push, at the expiry or just before the expiry of the 60 days, on the 59th, then you table before this house a report of your committee on status of implementation. And then after that, you will make a recommendation that out of 10, 7 have been acted upon. The department has not been able to deal with these 2 or these 3, and therefore the committee on implementation to take up to enforce implementation and compliance. So it means that your committee has never considered that business. You approved, we made recommendations, the recommendations died. And it is in the recommendation where you have the meat. Passing is a skeleton, but now the meat to chew, is in the recommendations. The teeth and meat are friends. One needs the other. The meat needs the teeth to be plucked away from the bone. So you leave that to me. A table office, I also assume that you have a tracker and that is what you do every day. There are times I don't know where I find time to remember what I'm not supposed to remember. But what Honorable Kalunda is supposed to remember is not. It's like me reminding you that you have Arambis in your ward. You look like you are not aware you are a representative of people. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee. Before then, Chairperson Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sport and Social Welfare table the report on Makueni County Empowerment Guidelines of 2024. They're coming next week as well. Chairperson Committee on Budget and Appropriations. On fiscal stretch paper. The chairperson, I'm told that when I called you, you laid that paper. That's what I'm told. The fiscal storage paper. But when you are considering the fiscal storage paper, you consider the county executive fiscal storage paper. Where is the assembly fiscal storage paper? The assembly.
I am not sure whether.
You don't have? I know, you don't have.
But I think, Mr. Speaker, next time I may not stand in for Honorable Dennis, because actually I'm being ambushed every now and then. If it was agriculture, I would land with a lot of ease, Mr. Speaker, because this is something that has sat over and I'm ready.
So I've noted you have done a lot of jumping
up and down or something. Next time, I think you have to direct him to be calling me in advance.
So you seem to be ahead of your chair. Oh, you are the pioneer chair. Chairperson, County Revolution and Public Participation. Budget Preparation Report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that report is read. Just awaiting for adoption on Wednesday morning. Then we can table on Wednesday 2:30.
Fair enough. Chairperson Committee on Devolution again on the County Public Service Board report.
Mr. Mr. Speaker, on that report, the committee sought for permission to go for a report writing, and the liaison committee considered the request, but directed that we can do so after the supplementary budget.
But you see, Chairperson, you can do that report. It will be late. It will be very late because you know
Yes.
what
Yeah.
liaison did. What liaison did. They told you can go ahead and write.
Yeah, we are still looking on it,
What? There is a report writing.
ongoing.
So
Not
you
complete.
said retreat. You are yet to do a report writing. A retreat, is it?
Yes,
Which will be when?
after supplementary budget, that was what was considered.
Unless you know, there's no guarantee that a supplementary budget is an amendment will be approved. So you are only guaranteed that you will pass a budget by 30th of June.
Yes,
So if you are preparing to present a report in the month of July, well and good. That I can guarantee you.
but we are still working on it.
Not subject
it's not
to
ready.
not
No.
subject to a retreat. What I'm trying to tell you, if you are pegging in on a retreat, it is not guaranteed that as a budget amendment or supplementary is guaranteed. The only thing that you are guaranteed by law, it is 30th of June there will be a budget, and therefore in July you can retreat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, as a member of a liaison committee, I don't remember us promising this committee a retreat. We just told them, because you were advised by the clerk, there was no budget. And so we told them to find out how they can write it, but there is no budget because they wanted the retreat out. And we were informed we cannot go ahead and grant a retreat when we have been informed there is no budget. That is what I remember we did in the liaison.
And he's a welfare member, he knows that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, just a concern of that report. Mr. Speaker, since May 2023, we have been waiting for this. Now I'm hearing about July. I mean, are we serious? Seriously?
So, Chairperson, where are we going to get this report? This is a statutory report. You can't keep it like the statement by a member for Tulimani. It's a statutory. You should dispense it reasonably within 21 days.
21 days is okay, Mr. Speaker.
Within 14 days, Chairperson. Upon resumption from recess, you submit this report. Chairperson, Committee on Education on Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Chairperson. And requested for more time. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Committee on Lands. Chairperson, Committee on Lands. You saw time. Infrastructure, implementation, you saw time. Environment, you saw time. Environment, you saw time. Finance, 14 reports. Chairperson, Committee on Trade.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motions. One, that this assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Trade, Marketing, Industry, Culture and Tourism of the financial year 2023-2024 FBN count budget implementation report laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th March 2024. Number two, that this assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Trade, Marketing, Industry, Culture and Tourism on the consideration of report of the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee on the unbundling and transfer of pending for functions for the trade sector laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th March 2024. Thank you.
Chairperson on Environment, on intergovernmental relations. You laid a paper. Chairperson Committee on Agriculture, Budget Implementation, give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, which is that this assembly and also the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the financial year 2023-2024 have county budget implementation report laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th March 2024. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson Committee on Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notices of the following motion. One, that is the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the financial year 2023-2024 half-yearly county budget implementation report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm calling you on intergovernmental relations. Sorry. I'm calling you on budget implementation, is it? You spoke on budget implementation. Chairperson Committee on Agenda. Chairperson Committee on Gender, on implementation. She asked for more time. Chairperson Committee on Budget and Appropriations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice on the following motion, which is that this Assembly adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the Makueni County Fiscal Strategy Paper 2024 laid on the table of the Assembly today, 18th March 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Member for Water and Zoo, what request for statement from the Chairperson Committee on Water? I don't know how this statement has found its way in the order paper. I did not approve. Chairperson Committee on Health Services, I declined. And what was brought by office, I even took the paper. So how did it find itself in the order paper? Chairperson Committee on Health Services to respond to statement as requested by member from Boni Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this was a member from Boni requested for specific dates when determination of current works should be completed at the Boni. The other question was the specific dates when the mutual termination of current contractor would be affected. The third question, the specific dates when scooping remaining works and preparation of tender documents shall be done. And the answer was the first one, the specific dates on when the determination of current works should be complete. The answer was the current works would be completed on 15th March 2024. Second question, the specific dates on when the mutual termination of current contractor should be affected. The answer was the mutual termination of current contractor will be done on 15th, 2024. The third question was the specific dates on when the scooping of remaining works and preparation of tender documents shall be done. The scooping of the remaining works and preparation of tender documents shall be done by 15th March 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Requester of the statement.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the committee and the chairs responded, but Mr. Speaker, you'll understand that 15th, the date that has been mentioned, 15th, is last Friday, and today, Mr. Speaker, the date of responding to this statement is on 18th. So, Mr. Speaker, through your wisdom, I believe it is prudent for the committee to table an updated report as of today. Since, Mr. Speaker, today is on the 18th, and we need to see whether that has been done. And also, we need approval of termination. That letter that was supposed to have been done by last Friday, Mr. Speaker, should be tabled to this honorable house. So, Mr. Speaker, I request your indulgence so that we can move on. Thank you.
Requester of statement, you take note that this paper was ready before, has been ready, and therefore the response is up to date. Only that you are available for the response after the timeline has been overtaken. You remember that? And I've deferred it more than 3 times because of your absence. But I gather what you're saying, that these being the timelines and they have not been fulfilled, do we drop this statement, Chairperson? Or when every timeline falls due, like here we have a timeline for determination of current works, 15th, mutual termination, 15th, scoping of the remaining works, 15th, and then approval of plans and cabinet paper, 18th to 19th. Procurement is 1st of April. Implementation of works by 6 months. So you may need to break this down into 3 timelines so that then you seek either a status of implementation up to 15th, because the timeline is due, and the request for evidence material, so that then at the end of 29th of April, up to 1st of April, when procurement open tendering, you will be requesting whether the approval of the cabinet paper and all others have been done by evidence of an advert of an open tender. Then implementation of the work plan within 6 months, 13th of May, it follows without saying from 1st to 13th, those are 14 days of tendering process, and therefore a contractor will have been identified. Only that time by 13th or thereabout, you require to get to be shown an award letter or a contractor has been taken to site. The only way you can oversight so far. Chairperson.
Mr. Speaker, do I take that as a supplementary question? Because now the question the honorable member asked, we have answered, and you know it is not late, it is him who was not in. So is he asking for a supplementary question in that line? That's what I would wish to know.
Is cleverly.
Yeah, that's what he should be open. We don't need to be clever.
He has asked you.
Yeah, so
fair
if
enough, I have the timelines. Today is on 18th. How possible is it to establish that target 15th was met?
Mr.
So, and
Speaker,
I've given him an answer.
Yes.
Is you break these timelines into 3. Now that we are on 18th, it means everything that should have been done on 15th has been done.
Yes.
So now, tomorrow or the day after, you will see clarification on evidence that whatever was stated to happen before 15 has been done. The other timeline is between 18th and 1st of April, which is now when you have an open tendering advertisement. So on 2nd or 3rd of April, you will want to know, there was need to produce evidence that indeed this tender has been, the plans have been approved, cabinet paper, and show evidence of an advertisement of open tender. So if we leave this statement as it is, having worked on it, it may not be implemented. Are you getting me?
I'm getting you.
So it is safer when it is not disposed, so that your committee picks the timelines. And now that one timeline is over, you require one paragraph that gives us evidence of one, whether the works were determined, two, mutual contracting, provide evidence, and three, the scoping of the preparation of the tender documents or whatever. Is information.
Mr. Speaker, it's quite in order, and I agree with you. You know, you are putting it well, because the first question has been answered. That's what I needed the chair just to say. The chair is evading that. Mr. Speaker, it's not fair. It is fair that the chair accept the first question has been asked, but now, for purpose of oversight, I'm seeking I am okay with that, Mr. Speaker. It's only that I was saying, once one assignment is over, let's accept it's over, let's move to the next. Thank you.
So chairperson, first thing that you need to do is to appreciate, not chairperson, member from Bonn, is to appreciate chairperson for two things. One, he has been lenient, he should have laid this paper. Two, he has given you a concrete answer with timelines. So appreciate first. Then raise your concerns. It is good to appreciate little things.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think that escaped maybe your notice. I said that the response has been answered. However, we are on a different date.
No, I'm saying, yeah, let's find a way of saying thank you.
Yeah,
I know
so,
it doesn't come easily from you.
Through you, Speaker, I appreciate the work of the committee, but Mr. Speaker, you are very wise. You have advised correctly. Since now that some timelines have passed, let us get some proof of that implementation of date 15th. Thank you, Speaker.
Chairperson, that then you'll be able to provide that when today is on 18th, the timeline was 15th. Oh, Wednesday you can. You are only asking, boss, honorable member, you are only asking, timeline 15th is due by 7 days. Please provide us with any information as to whether the following. The waziri will say a yes or no, as simple as that. Because you are retreating, take note, you are retreating on a recess. This is a COVID-19 project. Unless you press the pedal, we're going to get it wrong. You understand you oversighted this project in your first term as a member of the chairperson, and where our waziri had to be summoned, you remember, from his farm, to come and answer questions. So instead of allowing it to be loose and we're going on a recess, or for a recess for that matter, let's try as much as possible to get a confirmation on whether what was to be done by 15th has been done. And if supporting information is required, fine. If they request for more time than 15th, it's okay. So that then you will have some more time up to when we resume on 18th. You will have 18th, 19th, 20th, and then around 1st. We'll be able to do something. Okay? Yes. Oversight can be irritating, but it's the only way to go. Chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure, to respond to statement number 32. The establishment of a road connecting Makueni County and Kajiado through Kambu Market, as was requested by member for Nzawi, member for Nzambani Vingoni Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby raise to give a response to the statement regarding the need to establish an access road connecting Makueni County and Kajiado County through Kambu Market, as was requested by Honorable Mutie, member for Vingoni Nzambani Ward. Mr. Speaker, you allow me to go to question and answer. On question A, whether the department is aware that there exists some public land between Safo West National Park and the Chulu National Park that can be used to establish a road to connect Makueni and Kajiado counties as per the attached map. Mr. Speaker, the department was aware of the existence of a public road reserve within Chulu National Park connecting Makueni County and Kajiado County according to the Road Board Register number 2023. The road reserve is located within Chulu National Park. It runs adjacent to Tsavo National Park, thus under the jurisdiction of Kenya Wildlife Service, and can be rehabilitated for public use. Question B, provide a map showing clear boundaries between the two national parks, Tsavo National Park and the Chulu National Park. Mr. Speaker, a map showing clear boundaries has been attached. C, what became of the road used by the Kenya Wildlife Service and the Maasai community, which runs from Kathekakai to Intel and from Otu Market to Intel, both which were public access roads before gazettement of Chulu National Park? There is an existing road reserve, Kathekakai Chulu, which is 14.6 kilometers long. The road links another road reserve that runs from Otu to Taita Taveta County, which is 27.6 kilometers. The road has been mapped out in two sections, namely Otu Chulu Road Reserve Road, Chulu Games Reserve to Tsavo National Park Road. The road from Otu links other road from Metava in Thangeward through Chulu National Park in Makueni County, then into Kajiado County, proceeding into Tsavo National Park in Taita Taveta County. The road from Metava is Class C and links Class B road in Tsavo National Park, Taita Taveta County. The Class B road connects the Inita, a distance of 10.2 kilometers from Class C road junction. The three roads fall under the jurisdiction of Kenya Wildlife and have not undergone major frequent maintenance in the recent past though the reserves have been mapped out. Question D, as part of corporate social responsibility, the Kenya Wildlife Service have on many occasions hinted on assisting in opening up any of the aforementioned roads to connect the two counties to facilitate movement and economic activities between the two counties. What actions has the department taken to collaborate with the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, and particularly Kenya Wildlife Service Agency, towards the delivery of this undertaking? The aforementioned roads are within national parks that the authority of maintenance is vested in Kenya Wildlife Service. The department will seek to engage Kenya Wildlife Service towards delivery of the undertaking. Question E, what would be the approximate budget of the implementation, that is opening and graveling, of any of the aforementioned roads if the county government was to fund such implementation? The approximate budget required to implement the aforementioned road is Kenya shillings 76,302,000 shillings. The last question, Mr. Speaker, what are the possibilities of having development partners like the Tsavo Trust, David Shadrick, Wildlife Trust, and others helping in the implementation of any of the mentioned roads to empower the two counties in a bid to reduce the chances of interfering with the wildlife in the park and undertake other economic activities like livestock trade, farming, beekeeping, among others. The department will endeavor to engage the Kenya Wildlife Service in bringing on board any willing development partner to help in implementation of any of the mentioned roads and empower the two counties in a bid to reduce the chances of interfering with the wildlife in the park and undertake other economic activities. The committee, Mr. Speaker, requested the ECM to provide documentation indicating that the department was in communication with the Kenya Wildlife Service on the matter. Mr. Speaker, today, the committee is in receipt of a correspondence that is, Mr. Speaker, is attached. The department has written to the CS Transport. Mr. Speaker, we have a letter that is dated on 13th March 2024, which is addressed to Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, Minister of Roads, Transport and Public Works. A request for rehabilitation of roads connecting Makueni and Kajiado counties through Chulu and Tsavo National Parks. Mr. Speaker, if you allow, I'll read the letter. That shows the engagement from the department and the relevant body. The above matter refers as per the Kenya Roads Register and Kenya Upgraded Roads Map. There exist surveyed roads connecting Makueni and Kajiado counties through Chulu and Tsavo National Parks. The roads named as per the proposed KRB Register 2023 include 1. Chulu Game Reserve to Mwitasiano Road, which is G403, that is 14.63 kilometers. Utu to Tsavo National Park Road, which is 27.6 kilometers, mapped as Utu Chulu Game Reserve Road, plus F4001, which is 17.4 kilometers, and Chulu Game Reserve to Tsavo National Park Road, which is class G4005, which is 10.2 kilometers. The other road, Mr. Speaker, Kibwezi Metava Chulu Game Reserve Road, which is class C470, which is 34.16 kilometers. These are critical economic links for the residents of both Makueni and Kajiado counties, as they would promote trade and further enhance tourism within the two national parks. Thus, great socio-economic impact to the great region and the county at large. The purpose of this letter is to request your office to consider the rehabilitation of these very critical roads in your work plans and open them for use by the residents of Makueni and Kajiado counties. Attached, please find the Kenya Upgraded Rural Map for the roads in reference. We look forward to your favorable consideration to our request. Written by Motula Kilonzo Jr., signed. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is how far the department and the government has undertaken in following up this matter. Mr. Speaker, we look forward to positive response from the national government. Mr. Speaker, I think at that point, that is what we can deliver for today. Thank you.
Request of the statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would wish to applaud the committee for the efforts they've done, Mr. Speaker, to bring forth to answers that Makueni people have been asking. Mr. Speaker, of importance is question number 1, that I had requested to know whether the department is aware that there exists some public land between Tsavo West National Park and Chulu National Park, space that is for public that we can utilize to do a road connecting Kajiado County and Makueni County. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the response, the department admits that there exists a public road reserve within Chulu National Park connecting Makueni County and Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, according to the Kenya Roads Board, KRB Register 2023, which is the most recent map. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, that tells you that between Tsavo West and Chulu National Park, Makueni County and Kajiado can be connected, Mr. Speaker, using that land. Mr. Speaker, on question number 2, even though question number 1 I would have wanted to know, because, you know, right now as we speak, it has been grabbed by the KWS. The elephants and the animals are roaming in between that corridor, Mr. Speaker, so that we get a letter to both, to Kenya Wildlife Service to get to know what they have to say. I haven't seen a communication from Waziri to KWS. Mr. Speaker, question number A is partially answered. Question number B, Mr. Speaker, it is satisfactorily answered. Mr. Speaker and members, you realize that there is a map that has been provided showing clear boundaries as per the 3 items I've just mentioned, which is very critical for this House, Mr. Speaker, to push forward to have that connectivity be done. Mr. Speaker, question number E and D, Mr. Speaker, the department says they will seek to engage KWS toward the delivery of the undertaking. Question number F, Mr. Speaker, question number E is well answered. Question number F is not well answered, Mr. Speaker. It says the department will endeavor to engage KWS in bringing on board any willing development partners, blah, 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 to help in the implementation of the aforementioned roads, Mr. Speaker. However, as per the attached documentation, Mr. Speaker, we have not seen a letter that is requesting the KWS, because of course it's an agency by itself, it has a budget of its own, requesting for that. Mr. Speaker, what we've seen is a letter from the department through our Governor, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., which I appreciate so much, to Murkomen, who is the CS, Minister of Roads and Minister of Roads, Transport and Public Works. But Mr. Speaker, whatever it has outlined are the provisions of the roads in the Chulu National Park. This letter has not addressed, Mr. Speaker, that public land that I'm mentioning, and which is of more concern to me, that is between the Savo West and the Chulu National Park. Mr. Speaker, I would have wished to have a clear letter written to those departments, Mr. Speaker, so that we get to know how much in terms of width is that land, and whether we can utilize that to do a public road. And Mr. Speaker, these roads that have been mentioned here, you realize, Mr. Speaker, we had an electric fence raised along Savo West and Chulu National Parks, and there are no gates. The only gate that is there is not even aligned to any of these roads. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if we were to maintain these roads, then it will mean that we will maintain them for the KWS cars or patrol vehicles, not for public. However, Mr. Speaker, our interest was how do we connect Makueni County and Kajiado County so that our people can do business, so that our students can transfer in attending various universities, Mr. Speaker, and so forth in terms of socioeconomic enablers or enabling activities can be undertaken. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I still feel that we still require the department to get more commitment from, we still require the committee to get more commitment from the department as far as those issues I have raised are concerned, Mr. Speaker. So I am not satisfied with the response as it is. Thank you.
Now, Chairman, you requested, I don't think you need to address the animals, because from Titwande through Manitas to Voi, the difference between Savo East and West is the road. There's no boundary. It's a road that is passing through. You have been in Embu, Meru, those sides. You pass in some places where one side is a mountain, is a gazetted area, this is another gazetted area. It's very clear. So you don't need to do away with the animals. They will be crossing along Lukenya. That's a game reserve, and therefore animals will regulate themselves. So the question should be the gating. But again, the issue has been directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Roads. So it is up to the Cabinet Secretary for Roads in the context of collective responsibility to indicate that they have raised the matter with the Cabinet Secretary for Wildlife. Because actually the custodian and the title deeds for all roads are with the Minister or Cabinet Secretary for Roads.
Mr. Speaker, when you look at the letter that has been written to the CS by our governor, it outlines 3 roads that are within Chulu National Park. Mr. Speaker, it has not indicated that there is a public land between the 2 national parks, which we would request the national government through the Minister of Roads, Transport and Public Works to do a connecting road. Mr. Speaker, if this letter was to be responded, then that part will be left out. That part that we are saying it is a public land. I have no problem because, like as you are putting it correctly, between Mtitwande and Voi, there is a gazetted road. And therefore, what I am asking is that that space that is public land between Savo West National Park and Chulu should be a gazetted road towards Kajiado. So that number 4 here should have been, if I were to advise, that the public land between the two, a road should be gazetted there, or else the Department on Roads, on Transport and Roads and Public Works to do that road. Mr. Speaker, that would mean a lot to us.
Is that public land a public road? According to the response by the ECM
Yes.
and the maps,
Yes.
as the ECM highlighted the roads within so-called parks.
Mr. Speaker, the map shows there is a road that we used to use long time ago, and it is gazetted.
Yes?
Yes. So it shows there is one, it shows there is space between the two national parks, which is public. And then there's another map that shows there is a road.
Inside that space?
Yes?
Alongside that space?
Yes, exactly. And that is what we've been pushing for KWS to rehabilitate, among other roads, the ones that have been mentioned here. That is the road that we initially used to use to connect from Makueni to Tanzania and Kajiado County, Mr. Speaker.
Isn't that what the governor has written to the cabinet secretary on?
Not yet, Mr. Speaker. The roads mentioned here is Chulu Game Reserve to Muitasiano Road, which is 14.63. But that is not what we are talking about. This one is the one that passes through Kadekakai. Then there is the Utu Savo National Park, mapped as Utu Chulu Game Reserve, 17 point whatever, and then Chulu Game Reserve and Savo National Park, 10.2. That is within Chulu, inside. And then there is Kibwezi, which is Metafa. It's up here towards Makindo, Kibwezi, Chulu Game Reserve, C470, 34. So that section that I'm speaking about, Mr. Speaker, has not been captured.
But your interest was a road connecting Makueni County and Kajiado towards Terekea, two sides.
Exactly, Mr. Speaker. However, Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to bring in...
So that then instead of traveling from Mtitwande, Emali, Loitoktok, there's a road that one can pass through.
Exactly.
On the other side of Kajiado, I remember there's been a pressure for them to get a leeway that connects the Kajiado side to Kambu market.
Yes.
So that from Kambu, there is easier movement of goods from Kambu to the other side across.
Exactly.
Is that the case?
Yes.
Then all the way to the Terekea border.
Mr. Speaker, if they were to do number 1, for example,
or wherever.
No, number 2 is within. It is not coming out. Number 3 is okay. If they were to do, for example, number 1 or number 3, then I will be okay, because my interest is our people to cross over to
and that has not been addressed.
That one has been
I don't have the response, that's what I'm asking.
Mr. Speaker, I am sure the stakeholders and the Kenya Water Towers, the Kenya Forest Services, they will bring issues as far as, because it will mean that we are passing through a gazetted national park. And therefore, the number 4 is what I was bringing in into the picture, that there is a land that is for public.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the new item that the member is introducing, Mr. Speaker, we are going to seek information on the same. He's talking about that road in that public land. Mr. Speaker, the committee is going to write to inquire any follow-up by the department on the same, Mr. Speaker, and we will be able to respond. Thank you.
Any member from Kibwezi East? None. Requester, you done? Go ahead again.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying, as we wait for the response from the department, from the CS, rather, Mr. Speaker, I am willing to give them more time to check on that specific area I've mentioned. However, Mr. Speaker, if we were to get a response indicating that they are willing to do either of these roads to connect Makueni County and Kajiado County, then I will be home and very happy and for this country, not even for Makueni County people alone. Thank you.
Requester, you need to study this map. Please study and sit with the committee so that you do not confuse us. Then we will be able to advise you further. Firstly, can you sit with the committee, interrogate that response? If possible, chairperson, before you request further information, invite the executive committee member for discussion, and perhaps you invite an officer who is well endowed on study and reading of maps. I'm telling you what you're seeing there as X, Y, Z is not mathematics, it would be coordinates. So get someone who can assist you from the Department of Lands. Let us take your views. Can we get what is in your mind so that we do not have letters flying left, right, and center and not addressing your issues? Because you can imagine now, there's a letter to the Cabinet Secretary on an issue that you think you had not addressed. It has introduced a new one other than what you had addressed because you are interested in Kambu across. But then there is Kibwezi side, there's another one towards Dongoni, it's ending somewhere. You are introducing another one called public land, as if Chulu is not public land. The road itself is public land, and the Savo itself is public land, and assembly chambers are public land. So public land is not where citizens are settling alone. That is private land. So please have a conversation. Let us streamline this before further correspondence to avoid confusion in offices. Yes, member for Kikumbulu North Port.
Mr. Speaker, also I would wish to inform also the member for Ivingoni to also consult with his MP to lobby, because these are programs and they have lobbied during budget making, both the national government, so that as we push from the Makueni through the governor, is also lobbying with the members, because the national government is also represented there by the MP. That is my advice, that it will be a win-win to all of us. We must lobby through the senator, lobby through the member of parliament, so that they can push that agenda. It will be win-win for everybody, Mr. Speaker.
I hear you. So you are reminded there's an MP, eh? But to agree with member from Zamani, is interested in, firstly, getting to know that where there was a road, can maps show that it still exists as a public road? Now, the functions of surveying and maps and whatever is a count function. Even the member of parliament will get someone to get either from Minister of Lands, but they will still refer them to water. So once we get that information, I propose, then the assembly can move Senate and the National Assembly, because you may choose to go a report way, making recommendation that the Senate intervenes, the Cabinet Secretary notes, and that the area member of parliament for Kibwezi also notes. Now that you have fundamental and the basic materials, that then whoever will receive this report, they will require not to conduct a survey, investigations, because you have done that. But take note of that advice. As we proceed, you remember that there are other stakeholders. Even Kibwezi West, you hear? That's what you are being told. That even Kibwezi West, they can be useful at national. You know, that is a message. In Narok.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I, with a lot of respect to my colleague, honorable member for Kikumbulu North, I get his advice loud and clear. He has reminded me of a very important point. I know he might not be speaking about my MP, but our MPs. And yes, I know he knows what I'm talking about. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, much obliged on behalf of this House. Thank you.
Fair enough. You see, you forget that member for Kikumbulu North once was aspiring to be a member for Kibwezi constituency, combined the larger. So if you talk to him in his manifesto that time, he has these maps. He aspired to do this thing at national. So talk to him. He aspired to be MP when the sitting ones, somewhere in school. So he is asking you to talk to those who have intended to be MP in 2017 when you are somewhere in school. So before you aspire, talk to him first. He's telling you that. Next. But that's a good statement in the honorable members in the interest of this county. The road network between the Kajiado side, that is Loitokto, Terekea border, through Chulu, Kambu, connection that will tremendously open to that region and economic growth. I think it's very important. It's something that in unison we should pursue. Whoever is going to play which role is important so that then we open up our county. I'm aware there are other regions where the roads are inside the forest and gazetted areas. So the argument that these are gazetted areas cannot be open for Makueni, that is discriminatory and trying to make us poorer and poorer every other time. So let us unite in ensuring that this succeeds in the interest of our people. Next is Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture. To respond to statement number 4 by Member for Tenzi Ward regarding the tannery. Yes, the member is in. So you look for another excuse. Go ahead, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raised in response to a statement regarding the water tannery in Watenzi Ward. The Speaker, I will go to the committee's consideration of the statement and to the questions requested by the member. The first one was the ownership of the tannery, whether it is currently owned by the alleged Sebeb group, the county government or the national government. And the response, Mr. Speaker, is that whatever mini tannery is among projects initiated by national government under the Economic Stimulus Program, ESP, in 2009. The mini tannery construction project started in 2012. In September 2018, Mr. Speaker, Kenya Leather Development Council, being the client, that is the initial project owner, handed over the tannery to the government of Makueni County. Therefore, the tannery belongs to the government of Makueni County. So Speaker B, if the tannery is owned by a several group, and who are the members, of course, that is the resource that the tannery is not owned by several group, as earlier stated. Then C is that the funding and the amounts of the financial years. Mr. Speaker, the tannery was done at a cost of about 8,853,964 by the Kenya Leather Development Corporation, and had been paid over the contractor. The tannery has therefore not received any funding from the county government. Then finally, Mr. Speaker, whether there are plans to make it operational. The department conducted a feasibility study which concluded that the project was viable. However, as a result of some concerns about the site, the department is constituting a technical team with memberships which are already attached in the annexure to advise on the suitability of the tannery site, after which a decision will be made on the way forward. So Speaker, report is expected within 30 days. Then whether the allegations that the project has been condemned and abandoned due to its location next to a river are true, and if so, what measures are in place to correct the same? Mr. Speaker, the response is that environmental impact assessment was conducted by Kenya Leather Development Council, and the report forwarded to NEMA offices on 12th October 2012. Application number 0010745, the department has not received any information about the condemnation of the tannery. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we have annexed some documents that is about the handing over of the main tannery. That is the Makueni County, for Makueni County by the Kenya Leather Development Council to Government of Makueni County, dated 17th September 2018, for information action. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the committee hereby presents the response to the statement regarding the water tannery in Zeward and Nsiu Water Ward and to the County Assembly for consideration. Mr. Speaker, I think this is quite satisfactory because over the years I've been having that belief that the tannery was condemned, and I thought it is of no use. But now our members know that, and the member for water knows that actually there's something which is going on, and the environmental impact assessment was done, and it is viable. Thank you.
Honorable Felix Mateso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thanks for the committee for this response. However, Mr. Speaker, I have a few concerns on the department because, Mr. Speaker, the department seems not to have proper information on this tannery. Honorable Speaker, on
Question 1.
On question 1. Mr. Speaker, they are saying that on question 1 about the ownership, that there is some contradiction on when the handing over was done, Mr. Speaker, to the county government, because on A, they are saying the mini tannery construction project started in 2012. In September 2018, the Kenya Leather Development Council, being the client, initial project owner, handed over the tannery to the government of Makueni County. So therefore, the tannery belonged to Makueni County. Mr. Speaker, if you check on the last page, there is a letter that is contradicting when it was handed over. So the letter from the Department of Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Development.
To the clerk.
This is what they have said, yes.
Number?
It is a large page if you have, then you need the last page of the document.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, it's a technical team to evaluate the stability of the location site of the water tannery. And they say that the water tannery was developed by the national government under the economic stimulus program between 2009 and 2012. Then they say it was handed over to the government of Makueni County on 17th September 2024. So, Mr. Speaker, you know, we are only not asking a statement and getting answers for the sake of it, but there is a lot behind the statement, Honorable Speaker. How does it happen that there are different handing over dates to the government of Makueni County?
The document you are referring to, is it signed in the first place? No.
Mr. Speaker, it bears the letterhead of the government.
Nevertheless, Honorable Material, so that we save time, the handing over report, which is signed, there is a handing over of a Mintan and Makueni by Kenya Leather Development Council to County Government of Makueni, and there's a contract signed on every page by Dr. Isaac Mohamed Nu, Chief Executive of Leather Development Council, and witnessed by Mr. Charles Mwaginungu, Research Standards, the Police of the Leather, signed by Government of Makueni by Mr. Paul Wasanga, County Secretary, and witnessed by Lawrence Zunga, the County Executive Committee Member of Finance, Martin Boloi, Chief Officer. It is dated 17th of September 2018. Now the document you are reading, it reads 17th of September 2024. So it's a typo. It's consistent to the extent that this is 17 September. This is 17 September 2024. So one must have been obsessed with the current year, which is 2024. I think so. However, if these documents were to contradict, you have an authenticated document here, signed in all pages. You've seen it? There's a hand of a report signed by the Chief Executive Officer for Leather Development Council and the County Secretary of Makueni, witnessed by an officer from Kenya Leather Development Council and by the CCM then and the C Officer for Agriculture.
So in this case, which is the correct date for handing over?
17th September 2018.
No.
It is not
Which
possible
which?
because the Wasanga is not there. It cannot be Mr. Wasanga. The handing over, it is by these documents. If you ask me to make a judgment so that we move on, the paper you are referring to is a table. Okay?
Yes.
And this table has an error. It doesn't have a signature. Someone was trying to give a summary. If we want to discuss the ownership and the originality of this document, I will go to the document that are signed, handing over and taking over. Have you seen the document reading handing over and taking over? You have seen that copy?
Let me look at it. Yes.
Has this been shared? Table office. Where is it? In the group? Huh?
Yes,
It is on
seen it.
WhatsApp and it is to every individual. From who? From Thomas the bookie. So that's why every member is quiet. Okay. Honorable members, you must have
I've
seen a document.
it, eh?
Yes.
Yes.
So that document looks original.
Yes, but
So the other one is
see-
a typo.
You see, now, if you look at that is why I was asking, because I needed to get that information clearly, because it was contradicting, but
That
it's
is
clear that you've explained.
Yes.
Yes, next is, you go to question D and E. You see, when you go to question D, what the plans that the department have in place to operationalize the tannery, and when is this expected to be done? Mr. Speaker, the two answers contradict each other, because the department is saying the response is that the department conducted a feasibility study which concluded that the project was viable. However, as a result of some concern about the site, the department is consulting a technical team. Membership is attached to advise on the suitability of the tannery site, after which decision it will be meant on the way forward. A report is expected within 30 days. Then question E. I'm finishing on question E so that you can see the contradiction. Whether the allegation that the project has been condemned and abandoned due to location next to a river are true, and if so, what measures are in place to correct the same? Then they say an environmental impact assessment was conducted by Kenya Leather Development Council, and the report forwarded to NEMA after offices on 12th October 2012. Application registration number, the department has not received any information about the condemnation, that is the condemning of the tannery. Mr. Speaker, on D is like they are doubting the report by which was done by the leather department, because it's like they are not sure if this is the correct report, Honorable Speaker. So the allegation that the tannery is condemned because it's next to a river should be very clear, Mr. Speaker, because they seem not to be sure with the environmental impact assessment conducted by Kenya Leather Development Council. Though they should be sure about it, because they are saying.
Honorable Mateso.
Yeah.
I hear you on the issue you've raised. Take your seat, please. On the issue you've raised, yes, in question D, there is a contradiction. In the first part, there is an indication that there's a feasibility study was concluded and the project is viable. On the same sentence, they are saying they have constituted a technical committee to advise on suitability and the site of that project. You can't say it is viable and then you say you're also cross-checking. So there's a contradiction. Nevertheless, there is 30 days. Now, on the last bit, I don't know what is the problem, so that we save time. Because an impact assessment was conducted by Leather Development Council and the report forwarded to NEMA offices 12th October 2012, application registration number this, the department has not received any information about contamination of the tannery. So the environmental impact assessment, is it contradicted? Unless we request for it. You know, they're asking whether the allegation the project has been condemned. Your answer is simple. It has not been condemned. One, it doesn't belong to a self-help group. It belongs to the county government of Makueni. That question is answered. Two, it is not condemned as of now. Three, there are issues to do with viability. Chairperson, may you conclusively answer Honorable Mateso?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this is an issue of language, because D is very clear. The department conducted a feasibility study which concluded that the project was viable. Actually, they were looking for the viability of the project, not the site. Then E is addressing the site. But because of some concerns from members of the public, a committee has been put in place comprising of the members on the last page, Mr. Speaker, who are the health services, under health services, that is the public health officer, water and sanitation officer, then lands, we have environment officer, then national environment management agency, we have environment officer again, and then we have the veterinary expert and the eyes and skins expert.
Mr. Chairman,
So
the document you have read is invalid. Who is the author of that document? No.
Well, Mr. Speaker, be as it may.
Let me help you so that we move fast. we can't rely on it. We request for an authenticated document.
Well,
however, that is the intention.
Yeah.
So you require a document either by chief officer appointing those people, so that tomorrow you may want to know who are they and where are they taken.
Exactly.
Yes. So, Honorable Mateso, so that we save time, the department has raised two issues. One, 30 days for a technical committee to give an up-to-date report. And even if it was viable, we will begin from somewhere. And then the fact of the matter is that the document being referred to by Honorable Francis Munyao, since it is not even dated when it was written, with a lot of respect, someone had woken up when you knocked the door. So you are doing a good oversight. After you have raised the matter, people have started establishing committees. I think, Chairperson, what you require is that this document is not authenticated. We don't know where it comes from. And then we need the respective persons appointed to these committees with their terms of reference. So that then within 30 days from today, you are expecting a report. Two, they have referred to what we call an environmental impact assessment report submitted to NEMA. They have not indicated that the comments of NEMA approved or declined. So it is important to get the report. Once you submit a report, NEMA approves it or disapproves or approves with comments. So, Chairperson, you also require to provide to this House that report. This is not a water institute project. I can tell you the biggest beneficiaries of a tannery are in Kadhonzweni, Makindu, Water Road, the lower side, not even the upper side. So it's a flagship project that we need to develop interest in. Not to mention, in fact, it may end up being the first industry or factory in this county. So please get us that information. Environmental impact assessment, it is not there. It went to NEMA. There is no evidence or communication it was approved or not. 2, we want to know in 30 days. This letter is not authenticated. Who are these people, term of their reference, and what they are going to do. So that then you can answer Honorable Mateso. Is that not Honorable Mateso?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for that good advice. Mr. Speaker, you know, this means a lot, as I've said. And it's like the department just want to give answers, but they are not seeing that this is a factory that has a lot of help to our people. It can give a lot of employment to our people. Yet they may not see that. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. So we need that report, and I'll be happy if it comes as expected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well done, Honorable Mateso. You have reminded us that we have a transferred project that is told. Good oversight. Chairperson Committee on Water and Sanitation to respond to statement number 39 as requested by Honorable Felix Mateso, MCA for Water and Sewer Ward regarding Kamunyololo Dam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have one of the elements that we have not tackled, but by tomorrow.
Sorry?
We have one of the elements you have not tackled, but by tomorrow, you'll have to give a response.
Did you meet?
Yes.
Honorable Mateso, are you invited? Yes, for a meeting of the committee, as I directed. I directed that you invite in the committee, so that then you may ask your supplementary question in the committee, so that they can be responded. Were you invited?
Mr. Speaker, to be honest, we never met with them as you directed. So I don't know if they plan we meet tomorrow. I don't know what time they plan.
Were you invited?
No.
Fair enough. Chairperson, I gave directions that we invite the requester of the statement. Why have you not done so?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The reason as to why we don't invite him today is because we had one of the response, part of the response that was not conclusive.
When will you do so?
Tomorrow.
Honorable Mateso, take note. Is it this case where he was invited and he was away? Is it this one? Oh, so you know how to cover each other. I was following about this statement so that we don't take long, but lastly when I checked, you are at home. When the committee was sitting, the chair notified me that he's preparing me that you are available, but you may take some time. No, it's not a debate, Mheshimiwa. It's not. Okay.
Maybe, you see, Honorable Speaker, it's important also to report some progress on this project, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to report that now the local community have a lot of water. That is Mwambani, Moani, and plus other areas for the local community. And there is a water now coming all the way from Kamunyolo to Unoa tank there, which is now flowing to the town, Mr. Speaker. However, on the issue that I raise is the 6.5 million, which did some job, and some of the works is not completed. It's the only issue that we need to clarify.
That's fair.
Yes.
Thank you for good news that there is development. What has not been done, can you be part of that committee to agree or disagree? And give us a response. Give us a response on when? Did you say on Wednesday?
Tomorrow, in the evening.
Tomorrow. Is that in order? Fair enough. Chairperson of the Committee on Water to respond, the member from Lale Malward regarding inappropriate disposal of water within the Mali municipality and other parts. supplementary issues were raised. You have met? You met the CCM member?
Yeah, but response tomorrow in the evening.
Next order. No, before then, Chairperson Committee Devolution Public Participation. Response to a statement as requested by member for Tulumani Ward regarding the establishment of village councils.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we received a response on Friday, and the committee will sit on Wednesday morning so that you can consider the response. Then we report to the House on Wednesday 2:30.
Requester of statement. Nevertheless, the requester is absent. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The Affairs the report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period between July and December 2023. Resumption of the business interrupted on 13th March 2024.
Honorable members, the motion was moved, seconded, and the question was proposed. This is a resumption of debate. On the half-yearly progress report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period July-December year 2023. Mover of the motion. Mover of the motion. Mover.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy the members followed the debated, and I just request them now to pass a motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly, I put the question that the Assembly adopt the half-yearly progress report of the Assembly Business Committee for the period between July and December 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly 28th of February 2024. Will as many as of the opinion say aye. Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. The report of the Public Investments and Account Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Kibwezi Makindu Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Public Investments and Accounts Committee on consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the Kibwezi Makindu Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022, laid on the table of the Assembly on 28th February 2024. Honorable Speaker, this is a very omnibus report, and you will allow me to highlight the briefs and the issues as captured in each financial year. Then we will give our observations as committee and the recommendations. Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General audited the financial statements of Kibwezi Makindu Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022, and gave a qualified opinion to all those reports. The following were the key findings that the committee interrogated and sought evidence of the management as listed below. In the year ended 30th June 2018, the auditor highlighted the following issues as the basis for qualified opinion. 1, the company had going concern uncertainty. 2, there were prior year adjustments. 3, there were trade and other receivables. On the report on lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources, the basis for conclusion was non-revenue water. Report on effectiveness of internal controls, risk management and governance. The auditor noted that there was lack of audit committee and internal audit function. 2, there was lack of risk management policy and disaster recovery plan. In the report of the year ended 30th June 2019, the basis for the qualified opinion, the auditor highlighted the following: inaccuracies in the financial statements, errors in presentation of the financial statements, unexplained variance in the current liabilities. There was also unsupported customer deposits. 3, there were administrative costs. 1, which was unsupported travel allowances and unsupported casual employees expenditure. On other matter, there was uncertainty relating to going concern. 2, there were budgetary control and performance issues. On the report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources, the basis for conclusion was non-revenue water. Report on the effectiveness of internal controls, risk management and governance, the basis for conclusion was lack of an impressed register. 2, lack of risk management policy and disaster recovery plan. And 3, information communication technology environment. On the report for the year ended 30th June 2020, the basis for the qualified opinion was errors in presentation of financial statements. 2, unsupported customer deposits. 3, long outstanding trade and other receivables. 4, outstanding bill for licensee remuneration fees. In the other matter, there was material uncertainty in relation to going concern. 2, budgetary control and performance. The report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources, the basis for conclusion was non-revenue water. 2, unclear ownership of the company. 3, over expenditure on staff costs. 4, staff ethnic composition. 5, inconsistencies in appointment of board of members, which included qualification of the directors. Number 2, there was number of directors who were in that company. And number 6, there was lack of pre-qualified suppliers and annual procurement plan. On report of effectiveness in internal controls, risk management and governance, the basis for conclusion were lack of human resource policy manual and approved establishment. 2, lack of risk management policy and business continuity, that is disaster recovery plan. 3, lack of information communication technology policy. The report of the Auditor General for the year ended 30th June 2021 gave the following issues on the basis for qualified opinion. 1, unsupported administration costs. 2, long outstanding trade and other receivables. 3, long outstanding trade and other payables. 4, unsupported customer deposits. On the other matter, there was material uncertainty in relation to going concern. On the report of lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources, there was non-revenue water. Report on effectiveness of internal controls, risk management and governance, the basis for conclusion was weak information communication technology environment. And 2, lack of risk management policy and business continuity stroke disaster recovery plan. And finally, the report of the Auditor General on Makindu Kibwezi Water and Sanitation Company for the year ended 30th June 2022 highlighted the following as basis for qualified opinion. 1, inaccuracies in other operating expenses. 2, inaccuracies in the cost of sales. 2, long outstanding trade receivables, and 4, unaccounted for water inventory. The other matter was prior year matters which were not settled. And then the report on lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. The basis for the conclusion was 1, customer deposits not backed up by the bank deposits. 2, unauthorized expenditure. 3, non-revenue water. 4, non-renewable of water tariff. Lack of audit committee. 6, irregular payment. 7, lack of training needs assessment plan. And 8, delays in remittance of WASREB levy. On the report of effectiveness on internal controls, risk management and governance, the basis of conclusion was lack of an ICT policy and weak ICT controls. Honorable Speaker, members will know this report has been shared and they will go to individual reports and access recommendations of particular issues raised, but we will give our extensive recommendations and observations at the end of this report. Honorable Speaker, the County Public Investments and Accounts Committee embarked on a vigorous exercise to interrogate the report through the following methodologies, which resorted to the production of this report. 1, we invited the representative of the Auditor General to interrogate the report of the committee. 2, we invited accounting officer and witnesses to appear before the committee on Monday, 16th October 2023 to provide evidence relating to this report. The committee was able to interrogate the accounting officer stroke witnesses and diligently scrutinize the veiled responses from the officers which aided in the production of this report. Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following findings: that 1, there were errors and inconsistencies in the financial statements over the period 2017-2018 to 2021-2022, and which was attributed to lack of a qualified and competent finance officer. 2, the non-revenue water exceeded the set threshold of 25% as approved by the Water Services Regulatory Guidelines, resulting to losses which negatively impacted on the company's profitability and sustainability. These arose due to dilapidated pipeline and vandalism. 3, the accounting officer incurred expenditure that was not factored in the approved budget, such as consultancy, staff training and Water Service Providers Association subscription, contrary to Regulation 43(2) of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulations 2015, which provides that county government entities shall execute the approved budgets based on the annual appropriation legislation and the approved annual cash flow plan, which, with the exemption of unforeseen and unavoidable spending dealt with through the County Emergency Fund, all supplementary estimates. Further, there was over expenditure of some votes in the approved budget and whose approval was not done by the board. 4, the company was operating with an unapproved water tariffs by the Water Service Regulatory Board, that is WASREB. 5, the company paid subscription fees to Water Service Provider Association, WASPA, which is not a regulatory body and a water services provider but a registered association. 6, the company did not remit the required fees to the regulator WASREB in time and had no operating license. 7, the management had no approved policy for bad debts. 8, the company did not have in place training committee and training need assessment plan despite having conducted several staff trainings. 9, the company was registered under the defunct County Council of Makueni and Mchituandei Town Council. The management had not transferred the ownership to the county government of Makueni. 10, the company had no annual procurement plans and did not maintain a list of pre-qualified suppliers and service providers as required under Section 53(2) and 94 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. 11, the management was in breach of Section 7.2 of National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008, as about 95% of its employees were from the local dominant ethnic community. 12, the company had not established audit committee, which was contrary to Section 155 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Regulation 167(1) of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015. 13, the company did not have a human resource policy manual and approved staff establishment in place, contrary to Part 2, Section B2, 1 and 2 of Human Resources Publics and Policies and Procedures Manual for Public Service 2016. 14, despite being an independent entity of the county government, the company relies on the risk management policy and disaster recovery plan of the county government of Makueni. 15, the company had no ICT policy in place. And 16, in some circumstances, the accounting officer failed to furnish the auditor with the necessary documents during the audit verification, which is an offense as per Section 197(1)(k) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and punishable as provided for under Section 199 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. In our recommendations, Honorable Speaker, we recommend that 1, the company should recruit a qualified and competent finance officer within 6 months after the adoption of this report. 2, the management should adhere to the set threshold of 25% on non-revenue water as approved by the Water Services Regulatory WASREB guidelines. Further, the ECM responsible for water and sanitation should facilitate the rehabilitation of the primary infrastructure. All have a complete overhaul of the dilapidated water pipeline by allocating funds in the subsequent county budgets. 3, going forth, the accounting officer should ensure that all expenditures are approved in the budget in line with Regulation 42(2) of the Public Finance Management Act, Management County Government Regulations 2015, and the procurement plan approved in accordance with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. 4, the accounting officer should ensure that the company has approved a water tariff in place prior to the expiry of the existing one to ensure accurate collection of revenue from the water sales. The officer should fast track the approval of the water tariff within 60 days after the adoption of this report. 5, the subscription to the Water Service Provider Association WASPA is not anchored in any legislation, and the accounting officer should therefore recover the Kenya shillings 105,000 disbursed to the association within 60 days after the adoption of this report. No further subscription should be made to the association in future. 6, the accounting officer should promptly remit all the required fees to WASREB, fast track the acquisition of operating license from WASREB and progress report on the same reported to this committee within 90 days after the adoption of this report. 7, the management through the board should have in place an approved policy for bad and doubtful debts within 60 days after the adoption of this report. 8, the management should establish the training committee and approve training needs assessment plan within 60 days after the adoption of this report. 9, the county executive committee member for water and sanitation should fast track the transfer of the company ownership to the county government of Makueni and report the status to this committee within 90 days after the adoption of this report. 10, to ensure compliance with the provisions of Section 53(2) and 94 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, the accounting officer should have an approved annual procurement plan and to maintain a list of pre-qualified suppliers and service providers in the subsequent financial years. 11, the accounting officer should enforce compliance with Section 7(2) of the National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008 in its subsequent recruitments. 12, The management should ensure compliance with Section 155 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Regulation 167(1) of the Public Finance County Governments Regulation 2015 by establishing the Internal Audit Committee within 90 days after adoption of this report. 13, to ensure compliance with Part 2, Section B2, Part 1 and 2 of the Human Resources Policies and Procedures Manual of Public Service 2016, the accounting officer should ensure that the company has an approved human resource policy and staff establishment within 6 months after the adoption of this report. 14, the accounting officer should have in place an approved risk management policy and a disaster recovery and business continuity plan for the company within 6 months after adoption of this report. 15, the management should have in place an approved ICT policy within 90 days after the adoption of this report. 16, in subsequent audit cycle, the accounting officer should comply with Section 197(1)(k) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 by furnishing the auditor with all necessary documents during audit verification. Failure to adhere to the aforementioned, the officer shall be held liable under Section 199 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. Honorable Speaker, those are the general recommendations of the committee. Members interested in individual recommendations can go to the individual queries and they will find the committee recommendations and findings under each query. Honorable Speaker, the committee appreciates facilitation provided by officers of the Speaker and that of the Clerk of the County Assembly and that enabled it to discharge its functions during the interrogation of the accounting officers or witnesses and report writing exercises. I wish to thank the honorable members of the County Public Investments and Accounts Committee for the participation they gave in fully in the entire period with zeal for the difficult period and with commitment to discharging the mandate effectively. On behalf of this committee, it's now my pleasant duty and privilege to present to this County Assembly this report for consideration and adoption. Honorable Speaker, allow me to call the member for Bitini to second this report. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose the question that this Assembly adopt the report of Public Investment and Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Retired General on the Kibwezi Makindi Water Sanitation Company Limited for the financial year ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2020, and 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022. The report was laid on the table of the Assembly on 20th of February 2024. The floor is open. Move out the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would request the members to pass this report, and I will also request the members from the respective wards served by this water company, which will be Makindu, Kikumbulu North, Kikumbulu South, Gumo, and a few others to continue supporting the company. Yes, there are some few shortcomings from the company, but with support, the company can improve. It started as a going concern in 2018, but towards 2022, it was getting well and improving. So if well supported, the company will grow to a bigger company. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I put the question that the Assembly adopt the report of Public Investment and Accounts Committee on the consideration of the report of the Retired General on Kibwezi Makindi Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June year 2019, 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022, laid on the table of the Assembly 20th of February 2024. Will as many as of their opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, I direct that this report be conveyed to the following: 1, to His Excellency the Governor; 2, County Executive Committee Member for Water; 3, the Chief Officer for Water; 4, the Accounting Officer for the said Kibwezi Makindu Water Sanitation; and 5, the County Executive Committee Member for Finance; and 6, the Clerk of the Senate. Attention, Senate Public Accounts Committee. I do not know whether we copy the Auditor General after I make these recommendations. I copy to the Office of the Auditor General. Honorable members, the time now being 16:49 hours, this house stands adjourned until tomorrow, Tuesday, 19th of March, year 2024, at 09:30 hours.